am not going to be telling any of you anything new here. I'm not breaking new ground, no deep revelations. This is something that everyone, at least all the adults, already know. And yet, we can all use a reminder to stop and smell the roses. Or, as the kids say these days, touch grass. No cap. Skibbity. Ohio. Toilet.
What? That means stop and smell the
One of the awesome parts about having kids, who might kind of hate me right now, is that you get to rediscover the world through their eyes. I remember when Lily was 1.5 years, just barely walking, when she went on her first October trip to Starved Rock State Park in Illinois. Her absolute joy at running through the leaves on the ground in the wide open space is something I'll always have a memory of. I remember Michael out in our backyard here in South Bend digging holes. For what? I'm not sure, but it was really, really important. Remember taking Lily and Michael to Lincoln Park Zoo and them being totally blasé about all the seals, but being so excited at every squirrel we came across. Which seems backwards until you think about the fact that little kids don't know that squirrels are everywhere and seals are the thing they should be excited about. To them, everything is new and exciting, until it isn't. So let us all take the opportunity out here with our beloved community to reflect on what we can learn from nature. The first 4 ideas here I took from Laura Liu, who is part of what's called the Rested Revolution, a movement that focuses on rejecting burnout culture to focus on connection and healing. But I think she forgot one, so I'm going to add one at the end. First, nature never rushes, yet everything gets done. In this modern age, we are so eager to label our world as fast-paced, and we feel the need to match it. We've been conditioned to believe that the way to live a life worth living is to do more, do it faster, and do it better than anyone else. This phenomenon of the endless, desperate pursuit towards a goal that will never be satisfied is one that most of us are aware of. And most of us are also aware of how harmful it is. Yet, the conscious decision to slow down, take a deep breath, and proceed in our lives with less pressure and more ease can be a struggle. Nature reminds us that everything unfolds in its own time. The flower blossoms so fully because it is not rushed. Rivers flow into oceans on their own natural timing. The bird's egg hatches only when it is ready to. Yet, everything in nature that is supposed to unfold does so. She creates, not because someone has given her a deadline, or because of the pressures of rapid production, but simply for creation and existence itself. And somehow, through trusting nature's timing and process, what is meant to be complete becomes complete. So let us all take a deep breath together and revel in the feeling of not being in a rush. Number 2, death and loss are necessary for life and rebirth. As humans, we dread goodbyes. Grief, loss, and endings fill us with anguish and heartbreak, and many of us will go to great lengths to avoid loss. But grief and loss are an important part of life. Throughout our lifetime, there will be many losses. Death of loved ones, endings of relationships or friendships, losses of jobs, identities, and stages of life, losses of places that we once called our homes, and perhaps the biggest loss of all, the loss of time, whether our own or others. Nature's cycles of birth, life, death, and rebirth teach us a lesson of impermanence, that whatever is present today will eventually be lost. Although it sounds bleak, it is also a beautiful thing. Death allows us to honor life fully, and grief is a reminder for just how alive we really are. Grief and loss can feel so painful, earth-shattering, heartbreaking. Feelings of both total emptiness and full-bodied overwhelm can overtake our entire beings. However, nature shows us that after a cold, barren, dark winter, spring will bring the possibility of new growth and beauty. Just like how lifeless, dried leaves have to fall off the branches of trees in order for new ones to grow, in our lives, some of the losses we experience and grieve may also illuminate what is coming up for us next, a rebirth of identity, relationships, connections to ourselves and others, or reinvented ways of how we experience the world. So let us all take a deep breath together and give thanks to the parts of our lives that had to die so that another part could grow. Number 3, every season has its own time and important purpose. Kristen Rogers, a spiritual author, writes, "Every season of the heart has its own perfect time and important purpose. Even those that shake you, like the harsh winds of fall shake the trees, for those winds help you drop unnecessary things. Even those that challenge your footing, like the rains of spring loosen the ground beneath the flower's roots, have an important purpose, because they give you the chance to dig even deeper. And even those that feel like they chill you almost to death, like the winter cold does to the once vibrant flower, those cleanse you and ready you for the beauty of your coming spring." Periods of time in our lives can be like the seasons, and one particular season never lasts forever. Our seasons of the heart can be characterized by various energies and emotions, seasons of heartbreak and grief, seasons of growth and expansion, seasons of play, seasons of self-nourishment and rest, seasons of hustle and exhaustion, seasons of emptiness, and seasons of meaning and connection. New shifts, challenges, and emotions arise as we go through these seasons. And since each season has its own perfect time and purpose, may we welcome these challenges and emotions into ourselves and allow ourselves to fully experience the seasons and what they offer you. Taste the snow on your tongue. Curse at the scorching summer sun. Admire the reds and yellows of the falling leaves. Let the spring rains drench you. And, as some would say, take time to smell the roses or touch grass. Let us all stop to take a breath and think about what season of life we are in right now and what season is peeking through. Number 4, interconnectedness is the secret to our resilience. Nature embodies so many beautiful examples of interconnectedness. All of nature's patterns consist of interdependent, dynamic networks of life that flow energy between each other. One aspect of nature cannot function without other aspects, and those other aspects cannot function without the entirety of the whole network. One of the most beautiful examples of interconnectedness in nature is a tree's root system, which transports and captures nutrients and energies from the earth. One tree's root system intertwines and interconnects with other tree systems, forming a network of roots to draw up greater nourishment to the entire system of trees, adding to its resilience. And thus the whole system is greater than the sum of its parts. Similar to trees, human beings have a need for connection and interconnectedness. It is essential to our survival. We exist and thrive in connection to others. Especially here in the United States, our society convinces us that the promise of success is by means of individual achievement and independence. However, connection is the key to our evolution and progressing in society, because it forms the very basis of who we are. It is programmed into us, even while we're in the womb. As humans, the foundation of how we form our relationships with ourselves, others, and the world is learned through attachments formed with our loved ones when we are even very young. When we both support and depend on others as we are meant to, we can honor our collective humanity and allow our innate resilience to blossom. Let us all stop and take a deep breath and think about how this beloved community supports each other through all seasons of life. And finally, the one that I think is missing, number 5. You can't neglect nature and expect it to always be there. The analogy that I see here is the battle against invasive plants that I face in my yard. Decades ago, the people who owned my house planted a whole bunch of plants that, at the time, everyone thought were great because they had pretty flowers and they grew quickly. Now we are dealing with the consequences of those choices. Decades later, I am fighting from having these plants, which don't offer much benefit to the ecosystem here, and crowd out the helpful plants. Having them to keep over from taking over my entire yard. And what are those invasive plants in our lives that, if we are not careful, just take over? Phones, Netflix, Twitter wars, Fortnite. If we are not careful, we might wake up one day to find that all of the beauty in our lives has been overrun with the equivalent of a mere honeysuckle and Bradford pears. Pretty at first, until you realize they served no purpose and leave no room for anything else. So, now take a deep breath, a breath so deep that there is no room in your body for any of those invasive plants to take root. We will transition now to the offering, and I am pleased that my very lovely daughter Lily will be singing for us. The